everyone, and welcome to One Controller Podcast, episode 74. We are so close to 75. When I get to episode 100, I know it's tradition that you should do something special for your special episodes, but I don't know. I still don't know, what. I have no idea. I can barely figure out what we're doing for this show every week. But yeah. Hey, I should finish introducing the podcast. This is One Controller Podcast, where I, Benjamin Yoder, sit here and talk about video games. We talk about video games sometimes. Most of the time. Every time. I think there have been a couple of exceptions where I talked about things related to video games, but it's almost always video game related here on my podcast. So this is One Controller Report. That's the third time I've said that. Nothing too like I said last week. Still reorganizing my life, so I'm still trying to fit into the new groove. So there hasn't been too much video game playing. I think as I get more familiar with what I'm doing, I'll be able to kind of slot things more cleanly into my life right now. But I did finish up Blade Strangers this weekend. Basically, the only thing I had left to do was beat Shovel Knight's story mode, which I actually like how Shovel Knight plays quite a bit. And I did a quick play stream of Blade Strangers, so that's up on the website. Is that tomorrow? I think that's tomorrow. So quick play stream for Blade Strangers on the website tomorrow. You can watch me get my ass kicked by some people online. It was pretty funny. I've never found an online game before, and then when I was doing the quick play stream, I was like, I'm just gonna try this out, and then immediately got steamrolled by people. I did play a little bit this morning actually, and I did find some matches online with one person. So one person was playing this morning, and I was able to play with them. He was about my skill level, so I won out most of the matches. But yeah, like I said with in that quick play streamer, I'll say, that game is interesting for the characters that are in it. And I think it plays fine. I don't think there's anything particularly bad about it. I just don't think there's anything special about if you're playing it at a casual level. I always say that. Always preemptively say that with fighting games. I'm a casual fighting game player. I take most of my knowledge from past fighting games and try to apply it to every fighting game. So I'm not really here giving you the in-depth details if you want to get competitive or something. I don't know. Considering the online seems mostly dead, I'm gonna guess there's not really a big competitive scene for Blade Strangers, but who knows? But I finished that up. And nothing really else to say about that. I think that's probably it for Blade Strangers for me. I'm not sure if I plan to write anything about it. I was kind of rolling back and forth about it. But we'll see. Usually with fighting game articles, I try to keep it short because I know I'm not going to be able to really deliver to the extent that an in-depth extent. I think I did a Dead or Alive 5 review a long time ago. It's like 5 paragraphs, just me saying this is really easy to get into. Also, the story mode's pretty good. You should play this. I liked it at the time, at least. I think I had to go back and reread it. But yeah. In addition to that, I also this weekend particularly was working on a Mighty Number 9 video. I'm sure I've mentioned it many times before, but it's coming along. It's actually coming along right now. And when I was doing that, actually, and I don't think this is going to show up in the video at all, so I thought it'd be interesting to talk about the original pitch for Mighty Number 9. I never really paid too much attention to it, and this is kind of the point I make about Mighty Number 9 with me in general, is I was not really invested in that Kickstarter campaign for Mighty Number 9. I just kind of brushed the game off because I was I have plenty of other Mega Man games to play. I don't really need another Mega Man game in my life, and then just ended up playing it. Thanks, Josh. You gave me a copy. Anyways, so I was I decided to go and reread the pitch just because I was curious to see how much it changed. I think on paper it doesn't look like that much change. The big thing that really looks like it changed is that when in the original documents, Beck has the ability to absorb pretty much any enemy in the game and then transform into something based off that, or get a weapon or something based off that. And, I was looking at it and thinking about, what that game eventually became. And obviously they built the game to whatever play style they ended up with in the end. But I think a lot about Mighty Number 9 and Gunvolt as two of the same like design philosophies almost. Like, so they're both made by Indie Crates, Mighty Number 9 and Gunvolt, and they're both like from Mega Man Blood. I really think Gunvolt doesn't have a lot of relation to Mega Man, but whatever. It does have relation to Mega Man, but it's so vague in terms of like how it actually comes together. Maybe more from like a story perspective. I don't know. I'd have to actually play more Mega Man games to get the story perspective. Anyways, well, the character designs are definitely like, because yeah. Anyways, but yeah. So like Gunvolt is a game where like all these mechanics, like Gunvolt has a set of very complementary mechanics that basically make it so like at every moment you're playing Gunvolt, like everything flows into each other really well. I don't really know the best way to describe that. Like when you're playing Gunvolt, and I always tell people this because sometimes some people play the game where they like stop and shoot things, and I guess there's no wrong way to play games, but I feel like in Gunvolt there is, where it's like you want to constantly be moving in that game, and the whole thing is that you like basically tag enemies, and then you have like an electric shock that deals damage while you're running past them essentially, and that's really the core flow of the game. There's other elements to it, but that's the core flow, and it keeps the player moving. It keeps the player never stopping. It just makes every like moment to moment gameplay is just like, it almost feels like a speed run in some ways. I know that's like a very overused thing these days, and I'm using it in my Phantasy Star Online article as well that I'm still working on. But yeah, it's just all these pieces really come together in a nice way, and so Mighty Number 9 has like a dash mechanic, and that comes together in a very similar way, where the entire game is kind of built around you hitting enemies while you're approaching them, then dashing into them to absorb them to get buffs. In this case, in the original document, it was saying you'd get their power-ups. But I was thinking, like, I wonder if that really would have worked very well, because if the core mechanic is dashing into enemies, you would have been transforming all the time into like a bunch of random garbage. I mean, I'm sure it would probably be very useful, and like the game would be designed around it in some ways, and that would be kind of interesting. Like if you were constantly dashing at enemies and constantly transforming and constantly having to change your play style, I think that would have been interesting. But I just think it would have been too much, probably too ambitious. Might be the right word. Just like I guess I don't know like how extensive those enemy transformations were, but if you're like running and you need to dash through an enemy to get rid of it, and then you would have transformed into something, and then what if it's like something that was undesirable? Like obviously you'd think that they would like, oh, it's a power up, so it'll benefit you, but there's also power ups in that game in Mighty Number 9, like the weird the Mick one, I think, is the one where he's like a little like like bulldozer guy, and it's like the worst power up in the game, and every time you absorb something that would give you that, you'd be like, freaking A, man. Anyways, it's just a thought I had, but I mean, obviously if they went forward with that, they probably would have built the game to work around that mechanic. But I feel like with Inti Creates and how at least they made Gunvolt and Gunvolt 2, and then also like how Castlevania Bloodstained Curse of the Moon turned out with like the I don't know what the mode's called, like the absorption mode, where you like absorb the souls to get more powers. I feel like that is also like a quintessential like Inti Creates kind of design, and I just wonder if Inti Creates would have been able to make that original game however it would have been. Anyways, that's just a thought I had while I was looking at that stuff. The original design docs pretty much look, pretty straightforward for the most part. It just looked like too much, probably. Is my thoughts on it. But hey, that's not the game we got, so it's not really worth debating that too much. Yeah, but it's I'm happy with how it turned out. I'm happy with how Mighty Number 9 turned out, and really this video is, I had a friend poke fun at me saying like, oh, you're making like a defense video in the case of Mighty Number 9. I'm like, it really is kind of that. I see so much like butchering of Mighty Number 9 online, and every time I try to get an argument about it, it's, you're not argument, but like I want to talk about it maybe I argue about it. I don't know. But every time I try to talk about it online, I feel like I just am not. I have not curated my thoughts well enough to make a solid argument about it. I think maybe the biggest issue I have is that I pretty much just kind of point at, like, whenever someone's like, oh, this is a problem in Mighty Number 9, I'm like, hey, it was also a problem in Mega Man, but you guys aren't complaining about that. Sure you aren't. Which kind of puts me in a position where I don't know if I want to get Mega Man 11. If that would be valuable to kind of look at before, doing the video. I kind of want it to focus on Mighty Number 9, and I'd worry if I put like a Mega Man 11 kind of focus on it, that I might not give Mighty Number 9. I might not give Mighty Number 9 space to breathe. It's a pretty long article as is. If I do play, I wouldn't want to spend too much time on it unless it was. Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't want to spend too much time on Mega Man 11, but we'll see. I'm just curious to play it in general. Possibly, we'll see. I like the gear system in Mega Man 11 from what I've seen, but again, I just have to pick up a copy and put some time into it. That would be nice. But there's a lot of video games, and I looked at it last week, and it's not gotten much smaller. I pretty much just kind of put down Blade Strangers, and that's really just the only update to my stack of games lately. I think it's time to start Valkyria Chronicles 4, but we'll see. I would like to do that. Portland Metro Game Expo is coming up here soon, so I got to figure out something portably to play on the plane if I'm just going to play more Xenoblade 2 or something, or I still have Monster Hunter Stories on my list. I could also finish the dating segments with Manaka and... Not Manaka, sorry. Rinko and Nene in Love Plus. I would like to play through those parts and just get kind of a feel for each of the girls. And I would like to do something on Love Plus at some point. I really need to do the quick dating thing where it's like a skip date, where it's not running in real time. It's just all happening as you do it. Because reality is that every time I get home, it's like 5 o'clock and I barely have time to talk to Manaka. And then 90% of the time she's busy doing something else. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Manaka. If you just moved in, we could spend more time together. Yeah, is Love Plus Every out? Now I think about it, we're gonna go live Googling. I think Love Plus Every was delayed until sometime next year, if I recall correctly. I didn't look at the Tokyo Game Show stuff for Love Plus Every. I should do that. They had some cute bags and stuff at Tokyo Game Show for Love Plus Every. That was nice. But I mean, Love Plus Every isn't gonna be in English or anything like that. So, they made the little chibi characters 3D models now. That's nice. Yeah. Maybe I should spend more time with Love Plus. I feel like I should. Someday. One day. I feel like I should play something more like romance driven again soon. I don't know why that's a feeling I have at the moment. Because I'm so lonely. Oh. Something that I actually thought was pretty cool, and I don't know if I'll actually touch on it, because, let me see, let me check the calendar. Yeah, the Splatoon 2 Halloween stuff. So I'm a big fan of seasonal content in a lot of online games and stuff like that. I think it's probably my favorite thing about MMORPGs, and you have a lot of older games that will have seasonal based content too, there's like Christmas Nights, there's Home and Run, The Simpsons, Hit and Run, and then there's just like seasonal games in general, like Jazz Jack Rabbit, Christmas stuff. I just like seasonal stuff in games for some reason, and there's something. I'll say this about Splatfest and at least Splatoon 1. I haven't been playing Splatoon 2, so maybe I'm missing something with Splatoon 2. But I feel like there's always been some level of aesthetics that the Splatfests feel like they should have more involvement in, like custom graphics and things like that. And obviously it's expensive to do, and you couldn't do it for like every Splatfest. And to some extent it's actually the custom aesthetics are almost like the Miiverse stuff where people draw things. But the Splatoon or Splatoon or whatever it is. It's actually really nice, and I'll link the pictures in the article. But they actually go pretty far in terms of like redecorating the I guess I don't know what it's called in Splatoon 2, whatever the plaza is essentially, and I don't know if these costumes are like a part of the game already, but there's a lot of like very Halloween themed looking costumes with like the like I don't know if it's Chinese with the little like seal that like hangs down from the hat, and then like a Freddy mask, and then like double horns and stuff like that. It's just it looks like they're doing a lot for this Splatfest, and maybe I just missed it. Also, they recolored the I guess whatever the squid or I guess Octo, the Callie and Maria of this game, Pearl and Marina, their names. They kind of reskinned them, I think, with the different colors. Although I don't know if they typically do that. I really should spend more time with Splatoon 2 at some point. But I was really happy to see that. And if you haven't taken a look, I'd really highly recommend looking up the Halloween stuff. Side note, I was also looking at Dragon Quest X Christmas content, and I was like, oh man, I need to play Dragon Quest X at some point. I love to look at Dragon Quest X. This is a very sporadic podcast, I feel like. I'm jumping a lot of topics. Dragon Quest X, someday, one day. I need to get a VPN set up so I can play the PS4 version. Or I could probably just look and see if I could play the PC version or something without a VPN. I don't know. And then I guess the last news story, and this is kind of continuation of a previous news story that I talked about, the Castlevania collection that was coming to PS4. And I saw a lot of articles that were very disappointed that the original voice acting and stuff is not going to be in the Symphony of the Night collection for Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Obviously the Symphony of the Night voice acting is some of the most iconic, like, meme internet content, but meme. I don't know why I said meme. I was thinking about MEMEY, meme, rather than meme, like MEME. I think that's why I said that. But yeah, so I'm actually pretty excited for that to be the PSP voice acting, only because I wanted to play through the PSP voice acting, and I tried playing Castlevania PSP on a TV using a PSP, or Castlevania Symphony of the Night on PSP using the PSP connected TV, and it was not a great experience. And I would really like a better way to play that version. Obviously, I think the best option would be dual language or dual voice tracks, so you can choose between one or the other. But for me, that actually works out very well in my specific case. I would say probably the overall right answer would probably be to use the original voice acting. Castlevania voice acting, and probably the I think it was like mid 2000s or so, there's a quality to it to some extent. Like if you listen to Curse of Darkness and this game or Dracula X and stuff like that, they had a style they were going for, and I wouldn't say they were like great. I always compare it to like how Final Fantasy 14 1.0 was, where it was like very stage playish. So it's like not a good quality per se, but it's very overacted to kind of, be a little, almost maybe boisterous is the right word, where it's like everybody in the stage plays, like everybody in this room needs to like fully know my emotions based off my voice, and like everybody needs to hear it, and it has to be very loud because you can't like, you don't have a microphone mic'd up or anything. And so I like that style of voice acting, and Castlevania mid 2000s is that style of voice acting. I think there's certain people who like that, but I think there's also people who think like Final Fantasy 14 1.0 voice acting was atrocious, things like that. So I can definitely understand that. And then I think it's probably better that the Dracula X stuff, or the Rondo of Blood stuff, I think that's translated into English. Is that English? I can't remember. I'm not sure how the Rondo of Blood stuff was handled in the PSP game. I think that may have not been in English, but they subtitled it. I'd have to look at it. Either way, as long as there's English subtitles, I'll be happy with that too. So I'm actually pretty happy with how it turned out, but I know I'm in a very specific situation where I do want to go back to play Symphony of the Night, and like I do want to see, I've lost a lot of luster for Symphony of the Night over the years. I know it's a very well-respected game, and it definitely did a lot for the franchise. That's undeniable. But there are many GBA and DS games that build off that formula, and I feel like as of Area of Sorrow, all the games after that may not have been as well-rounded as a package as Symphony of the Night, but they did more than what Symphony of the Night did, and really built on a lot of those core mechanics, and I would like to go back to Symphony of the Night to actually, kind of reevaluate that game a little bit, and doing that with the new it's 12 years old now, that voice acting, the PSP one, doing it with the PSP voice acting I would prefer, just because I haven't really played through the game with that voice acting yet. I did start trying at one point, but I was doing it portably, and there just weren't many times I was like able to wear headphones and like listen to the voice acting. So I kind of gave up on that. And then I was debating maybe streaming it. So I don't know. We'll see. And then I tried hooking my PSP up to my FrameMeister, and that was a good time. Video out on PSP. Very convenient in terms of, being able to capture that stuff. Very inconvenient to play. I wish I know there are some mods to like hook up a DualShock or something to a PSP, but man, it does not seem to be easy. The obvious exception being the PSP Go has the ability to connect the DualShock to a PSP Go. But yeah, I'm hoping that stuff gets a lot easier, and maybe at some point the reality is that once the PS TV gets cracked open on like a modern firmware, maybe I just modify my PS TV, and I will buy original PSP games. I will pay for those unless they're like something that's ridiculously expensive and not being sold by like anyone. It's like it's like Cube of War, $300, and it's like, don't buy Cube of War. Go emulate it if you can, because the only people getting that money is the person who has that copy of that game, not anyone at the company. So whatever, man, pirate it all you want. It'd be interesting if someone tried to resell Cube of War, though. I'm not sure who owned that. Atlas, I think they did. I would weirdly probably not be very shocked if Cube of War got announced for an HD release. I don't know why. I'd be curious to see that. It's a weird enough game these days that I feel like it would be a good like PC Steam thing. Although maybe it's so common, those style of games these days, that it's not so bizarre anymore and wouldn't really be a big selling point. But yeah. So maybe I'll PS TV modify it and just play PSP games that way someday, because I like to buy physical copies of PSP games, and obviously I can't put the disc into a PS TV. Right now I do, if I can, like with like Valkyria Chronicles 2, did I record that? I don't think I recorded Valkyria Chronicles 2, but I did play that on a TV, using the PlayStation TV, because I bought a copy of it for like $5 digitally, and I had a physical copy already that I bought for like $20, or maybe I got the physical copy for free. I can't remember. I don't know if I bought it or got it. Someone gave me a bunch of PSP. My brother-in-law gave me a bunch of PSP games at one point. And I haven't really played any of them. I think Valkyria Chronicles 2 is one of the ones I played. That was a very good game. I'm excited to play Valkyria Chronicles 4. I guess that's going to do it for this week. It's almost 25 minutes. I have an article coming out this week. It's for Rupupu Cube, Lup Salad, and I also sneak in a little bit of Sayonara Umihara Kawase talk in there. So that article's coming up this week. I'm still working on the Phantasy Star Online article. I decided to restructure it a bit. I felt like I went a bit too in-depth about something that really didn't matter that much. And then so I kind of grinded it out a bit, and then also play a little Phantasy Star Online 2 to kind of update some of the information to be more modern, because I haven't spent that much time with Phantasy Star Online 2. Mighty Number 9 script is coming along. Again, all this stuff is kind of moving slow right now because I'm trying to, reorganize how I'm spending my time and my life. And then I got Portland Retro Game Expo coming up next weekend. Because I won't be able to record a podcast at that time, I'm going to go ahead and record a podcast probably right now. And just have something in between. The podcast will probably be about kind of my time with the Nintendo Wii. I'm a big fan of the Wii, and it's not going to be anything formal. I'm just going to kind of go over my years with it, and then just kind of some thoughts on it. So, if you're like, oh, I want the history of the Wii, nah, you're not getting that. But if you just want to hear me ramble about the Wii for 20 minutes, then hey, you're getting that. So there you go. Special episode 75, me rambling about the Wii. Um, yeah. Yeah. I think that's going to be it. Quick play stream game this week's going to be Hardcorp's Uprising. Unless there's some reason, my stream time's very close to my flight time. Not very close to my flight time. It's the next day. But I don't anticipate any issues with streaming on Thursday. Lost Dimensions, I'm still streaming that. That's coming along. We're getting to the really interesting part of the game where I had to start figuring out who the traitor is in it. And I was a little worried that I might be a little stale between Valkyria Chronicles 4 and Lost Dimension, which is still a possibility that might happen. But I think Lost Dimension is unique enough and weird enough that it might stand out on its own. And so I'm hoping Valkyria Chronicles 4 also surprises me. Maybe Lost Dimension is weird enough that Valkyria Chronicles 4 can't surprise me. Lost Dimension's not that weird, but there's some really cool things in it. So, but yeah, that's going to be it for this week. And then probably when I get back, the week after that, I'll probably do an episode on Portland Retro Game Expo and stuff I did there. If you're going to be at Portland Retro Game Expo, feel free to hit me up at Twitter, at OCULIN, I believe. That sounds right. I'm pretty sure it's at OCULIN. I can't remember if it's Ben T. Yoder. Okay, my display name's Ben T. Yoder, but the Twitter handle is OCULIN. So feel free to hit me up right there. And I won't be at the show for super long. I'll be there pretty much all day Saturday and then most of the day Sunday. But I made it a short trip, unfortunately, so it's gonna be kind of tight. But yeah, let me know if you're around, and then maybe we can say hi, and then maybe you can see the garbage games that I said I wouldn't buy, but I absolutely did because I'm a trash, horrible person. I got a raise though, so I deserve it. Anyways, that's gonna be it. Thanks you guys for coming. I forget if I said, but Hardcorp's Uprising is the quick play stream, and that's gonna be it. Ciao.